Ho ho ho, this is Waffle Kitty, and today, I want to tell everyone, Merry Wafflemas. For the next 3 episodes, I want to try something new. In my Wafflemas announcement video, I briefly referenced a holiday special, and as I'm to be on vacation for a bit, I can think of no better time. I intend to create a full-length documentary, under 5 episodes, then release the full thing after. I hope you enjoy. So grab some eggnog and spiked hot chocolate for the 5th episode of Wafflemas 2020 and the first episode of https://lies, how Yandere Dev blind and lost YouTube. Also, make to subscribe or Giles will steal your presents and shit in your stockings. Thanks.
They are developing a false image of who you are. However, when you try to do this, they'll just laugh at you. You see, they don't care at all about getting to know the real you.
Congratulations, Nick. Enjoy your Dota.
Looked at me, scared to be all alone. Horribly scaring me, a ghastly moan. Watching me, haunting me from the unknown. Couldn't get out of here and heading home. I hear a cry, close my eye, hope for the best. Feel my heart skip a beat, deep in my chest. This will be probably the end of my quest. Gotta get away from my what it get a little strange. And you're all alone and want to blame. Cause nobody's home.
The way updates come out and just seem to bounce around the place with little structure that seems to indicate that there's almost no game design document to speak of.
It raises the question, why hasn't a game similar to this been made before? Well, apart from the whole murdering children thing, I'm coming back to this, which could just be avoided by taking Persona elements to a Hitman universe instead of the other way around. It inherently introduces a problem, being that, believe it or not, Hitman and Persona are different.
Yandere Simulator has been in active development for about 5 to 6 years. That he knows his code looks awful and that he only codes on areas that aren't used frequently. If he's saying that, then that means he clearly knows how to code properly, so why isn't he doing it?
I hope you enjoyed the intro. The music belongs to the wonderfully talented Madam Misfit. I'll leave a link in the description. Anyways, before we get to the beginning of the worst train wreck since The Mighty Onion and Jake Paul, we should probably discuss the instant phenomenon of Americanized Japanese culture. Now, this hasn't really hit the UK yet, but on the internet has transformed by Americans hopping on the trend. Anime, in particular, has taken off. As far as my research covers, it began with propaganda films, mainly from the Second World War. These films featured racist caricatures of Japanese people, often portraying parts of the culture in ridiculous and racist ways. For most Americans, this was the first they'd truly heard about Japanese culture or people, and that toxic offset still lingers today. After the war, facing bitterness from the populace, Japanese media took a rather obsequious tone, allowing the racist American portrayal of their culture until the early 80s and 90s. Basically, just imagine Michael Scott's Diversity Day routine. Concurrently, while the toxic portrayals still exist, Japanese culture has become a huge trend. While still not entirely accurate, on the most part, the Americanized Japanese culture is respectful, unique, and gives people a chance to see a brand new art style anime. Through the 2000s, anime in particular has become a recognized part of internet culture. With the release of dubbed animes such as Attack on Titan and the growth of social media, the understanding of the art style and culture has grown, allowing Americans to release anime games, movies, and TV shows. Hells. I keep saying culture so much. I sound like my government professor. Sorry, Mr. Redacted. I'll have my propaganda essay in soon. But just like anything else, the darker, fantastical style has tropes and stereotypes that developed along with its popularity. And one of those is... No. I'm not talking about its dear, either. Our topic today deeply relates to the Yandere. And for some reason, whenever I hear this, I always think of the Yeti from that old claymation Rudolph, the one from the 50s? You know, the one that cat is always chasing them into his safe, or something. The ... there. The something of the north. Fuck, I can't remember what it's called.
What the fuck
it's
are you
been
talking
18
about?
years, so lay off me. The Grumble or whatever. Hells, I don't know either. But anyways, let's move on what exactly a Yandere is. Now, I believe it's time for our favorite segment, Copy and Past Wikipedia. Except, it's not Wikipedia, it's tvtropes.org.
Yandere is derived from the Japanese word yandero, meaning insane or sick, and deredere, meaning affectionate or loving. Simply put, a yandere is someone who is lovesick, someone who has been driven to insanity by extreme obsession or love, thus resulting in abnormal behavior if not violent. Take the tropes: love makes you crazy, love makes you evil, love hungry and stalker with a crush, turn them all up to 11, and condense everything into a singular personified character archetype. The word yandere, a term that blossomed in Mofando, refers to a character who is crazy about someone else, often literally and violently. Despite the anime-inspired name, this type of character is much older than that, as one of the earliest examples is the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar, Inanna, technically an Uruk example, as they told her cult city that bore during Sumer. Yene are usually identifiable by their blank eyes when they go crazy, blood being soaked on them for the majority of their screen time, carrying at least one signature weapon that they use to kill or attack others for the majority of their screen time, a mostly no appearance or at least an appearance that will deceive others, psychotic behavior, and a tendency to attack or kill people who would get in the way of the love. Many of them are crazy. Benign cases don't even need to bring weapons or violence into the mix, just a well-established aura of menace and the feeling of dread if you step out of line is enough. When on the good guys team, they are often the token evil teammate, or at least the fourth type of the anti-hero. The character almost always appears perfectly cute and harmless on the surface, but underneath they may be obsessive, controlling, and sometimes just plain insane. This is bad news for anyone unfortunate enough to be the object of a yene obsession, as nothing will dissuade the yandere from the notion that they are theirs and theirs alone. But even more pity should be saved for anyone who gets in the way, as this psycho-obsessive is amazingly unwilling to put up with any rivals to their often genuine affection. Most yene have a history of mental instability, but some have always been just a little bit off, perhaps the product of a dark and troubled past and a good round or more of break the cutie. If a yandere ever goes off the deep end, they are likely to go crazy, taking up their psycho weapon of their choice and doing things to people straight out of a horror movie. Usually their target is whoever they perceive to be in the way, but if the person they love rejects them or leaves them, they may well decide that they would rather see the person dead than with another or themselves because they're nothing without them, which may well lead to tragedy. Interestingly, while yene are usually villains by dint of their psycho and murderous nature, they can still be perceived as more if they manage to gain in awe.
So, let's skip to early 2010s. You have two growing parts of the internet, video games, and Japanese culture. While a few games have been translated, no one has attempted to create an open-world game, or one with a yandere character. It's a mediocre to fine idea, but unfortunately, the The one to pick it up was the brilliant, all-knowing, misunderstood genius, Alex Mahone, also known as Yandere Dev. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say genius? I meant total fucking moron. I'll have the next part out soon. I hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, thanks for watching, Merry Wafflemas, and make to subscribe or Giles will steal your presents and shit in your stockings. Thanks.